Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a best of 3 between two phenomenal players. Here in the top right spawn-in as our blue Protoss playing for Team Macherino. It is Nightmare. And in the bottom left as our red Terran playing for the Shopify Rebellion. It can only be one, and it is Byun. Alright, double gas opener here coming out of our Terran, while Nightmare opens up with a relatively normal scout timing. Nightmare is one of these players that I think a lot of people might not know about. He is really freaking good. He just doesn't really get the results for some reason. Oh, this guy's not working, by the way. That's going to cost him a little bit on his factory timing. Look at that. Idiot. Nightmare is one of those guys where you look at him and you see him play at times. And you're like, well, I feel like he deserves better than the results than he gets. At Atlanta, I think he got knocked out in the open bracket, I want to say by Hero, which sucks. Obviously, Hero is very good, but I also feel like it wouldn't surprise me an insane amount if Nightmare just 2-0s Hero or 2-1s Hero. You know, he really is quite good. I don't know what his MMR is in Korea compared to the other top boys, but I know he practices a lot as well. Whenever I talk with Byun about Korean players, there's 3 things you can be. Okay, you're either not a machine, you're a machine, or you're a semi-machine. And if you're a machine, it means you practice a lot. If you're a semi-machine, it means you practice a lot sometimes. And if you're not a machine at all, you don't practice enough, according to Byun. Now, Byun's standards are pretty high. I stayed with Byun for, I think it was 5 days in the Shopify Rebellion office, or well, the Shopify office, on which we have a floor for just the Shopify Rebellion. And I think every single, the way that he ladders, or the way that he plays StarCraft is so insane to me. Because he just sits there and ladders for hours on end. Like, no breaks. I have serious doubts about this being very effective. He's old school though. Like, he just plays for like 8-9 hours, just queue after queue after queue. There's like no breaks whatsoever. He just freaking queues instantly every single game. And then he goes again. And there were some days where he felt like he had too much downtime, and he'd call himself a semi-machine on those days. Like, oh, you were a semi-machine today, Byun. To me, it felt like you were a serious machine here. But, you know, the standards are very high. And where I was going with this story is that Byun called Nightmare a machine, which means that Nightmare must play a crap ton. And to me, Nightmare is one of these players that is really quite good as well. I like his build orders most of the time. I like his execution majority of the time as well. His mechanics seem solid, so curious to see what this series is going to get us, because these are the only 2 machines that I'm aware of currently in Korea. They're fighting each other. All right, we're gonna have what's that? 4 stalkers. Yep, 4 stalkers are out. Robotics facility on the way. Blink not quite done yet. As a single Cyclone drop heads in towards the natural, gets a single worker kill. Now Byun knows that this is safe because it is simply impossible for there to be any air units or blink out. The timing just, well, there could have been air units, except it wasn't a Stargate opener, so that, you know, kind of excludes that possibility. Blink will finish up in about 15 seconds from now, depending on whether it's going to be a chrono boost or not. And yet, whoa. Wow. This is extremely uncommon, honestly. We're seeing a very fast forge here coming out of Nightmare. We legitimately never see this. Like, legit never at all. This is such a fast forge. This is something that people will tell me in an email to me, you know? Like, dear Harstem, I've been thinking about the PvT matchup, and I believe that upgrades are quite powerful. Why don't you just get 2 forges at the 3-minute mark and then get a cannon in every mineral line? So you're safe, but you also have quick upgrades. Then I have to explain to them that investing about 600 minerals, 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the game just to be safe against a mine drop while still dying to a tank push at the front is not a very worthwhile investment, and thus that's the reason why it's not played. Yet here we have, it's just a fast forge without an upgrade though. Just build a forge for banter, I guess. I'm not entirely sure what the forge is for. Maybe he misclicked. Maybe there's not supposed to be a gate. So the default hotkey for forge is F, and the default hotkey for gate is G. And the F and the G on the keyboard are right next to each other. So maybe that's why? Because he built a forge really quickly, then didn't use it for like 40 seconds. That is not a very optimized, you know, unit things. That's a nice blink as well. Left one Stalker at home. Or on the low ground at least. With 3 Stalkers, you can't even one-shot Marines, although there are no Marines here, so I guess that won't be much of an issue. Here comes a flank. Byun instantly recognizing that there might have been an opportunity, and although it didn't work this time, this is the difference between good Terrans and top Terrans, right? A good Terran would just pull all of his units to the main base, wouldn't take any damage. But a top Terran, he's like, hey, there might be an opportunity for me here to get some damage done. And he's gonna get 1 Stalker with it. It's not a whole lot, but it's more than not getting a Stalker. He's now gonna get a 2nd and a 3rd. And although this shouldn't have happened, it does happen. And Byun is kind of, he's not really forcing these mistakes, but he's putting himself in an opportunity where his opponent could potentially make mistakes. Zealots now moving out on the map, trying to catch this tank. 3 tanks, actually, perhaps. Are there medevacs? Okay, medevacs still at home. We have 1 medevac with a Cyclone here in the dead space. We have this Raven in the dead space as well. Byun's just going to be moving back home for a little bit. 3 more Zealots being warped in. We have a proxy gate as well as... What is this pylon doing? I don't know, but I love it. Observer here sees everything. Sees the lack of a combat shield as well. That's only halfway done. I think this Raven wanted to do something. It won't be capable of doing that quite. 3 gases, 2nd Robo Bay. It's not to be just a pure Zealot army then, yeah. If you're working off of 3 gases and you can afford all of that tech, it means you haven't really been warping in a whole lot of Stalkers. And that's definitely the case. Only has 5 Stalkers here in this composition. I think he warped in 2 more. Not even on this side of the map, just home defensively. Very cool. +1's about to finish up. Here comes Nightmare. Combat shield not quite done yet, but neither is ground weapons +2. As 4 force shields get pretty much wasted. No Guardian shield as a result. Combat shield finishing up here. That means that these Marines are going to be a whole lot more tanky than they were just 10 seconds ago. And this push achieved, well, nothing. Just 0. There's no prism on the map either, so counterattack possibilities here are limited to just Zealot Rumbys. Now, Zealot Rumbys are really good, because the reason why Zealot Rumbys are so good is because as a defender, you need way more attention to deal with the Zealots than you need as the attacker with the Zealot Rumbys, because you just aim move some Zealots or you shift-click a couple of SCVs, you know, and life is going to be okay. But if you just have Marines and they're standing still, they're not kiting, the Zealots are going to absolutely murder everything there. So that's why I think Zealot Rumbys are so freaking good. And also they're kind of tanky, they're good at, you know, they're pure minerals and good at killing stuff. Nice unit to have all around, really. 2 Colossus being added in here. As 3 tanks are set up defensively, we have a... What is this? This is a quad drop heading in towards the enemies. I wonder if the Zealot spotted. I don't think it did. These line of sight blockers here really helping Byun out. This pylon is going to spot at least 3 drops. Okay, sees the 4. Do we have a recall? Yes, we have a recall available towards the main. Slow warp in here with that Stalker. It's not quite going to finish. That's a lot of Zealots, but this is also a lot of Marines and Marauders. The one... big bonus here for a Nightmare is the fact that there's not a single mine. If there were just 2 mines in this composition, it would have been huge. But even without the mines, I think these Marines and Marauders might just be capable of doing it. Sentry's gonna get taken out as well, and at the same time, Byun pushing at the far left. 3 tanks will take out a large portion of this army. The pylon now is going to depower, or well, the lack of a pylon is going to depower these 2 gateways. Batteries still active, as a lot of probes here are dying. Raven's gonna get killed by the cannon. 10 workers have fallen. Thermal lens will not finish up, perhaps. Seems like the Nexus has the priority here. Marines kiting back, making sure that the Colossus can just swipe them down easily. This is a bad move, I think. This, well. Gets a Colossus kill. The robotic space stays alive, though. So at least he can resume production on that thermal lens, as well as resume Colossus production. There are not that many Vikings out. We have 3 Ghosts on the map as well. 1-1 upgrades here completed for Byun. He's trying to rebuild those forges. There's a 1 forge that's coming back right now. Armory is fairly late. I think that's the one downside here for Byun, is that he kind of forgot about his armory there. Otherwise this game would be 100% over. Now it's just 95% over. Better eco for our Terran player. Superior army, better tech. And actually also still just better upgrades. So he's literally ahead in every metric here that really tends to matter. Adding in some mines as well. Usually the lens through which I view like being ahead or behind, it's like eco, army size, army composition, upgrades. And I guess the amount of base, but that kind of ties in with eco, right? Eco is like workers plus the amount of bases. Yeah, I think in every metric that I usually use, Byun would be considered ahead here. Now, that is not a very good sign, because it's really difficult to make a comeback if you're not ahead in anything. Like, if you're ahead in tech, even if you're down everything else, sometimes you can't just still win. You know, you have Storm against a pure Ling army. You can be down like 50 workers. Like, your opponent is just not gonna win. But this time around, I actually do believe that there's so many Vikings out on the map already, and we have a lot of ghosts as well, and the army size is just so freaking large too. So these zealots are just absolutely melting. There's no serious anti-Viking force here. There's like 5-6 stalkers. I mean, Nightmare's microing as well, and the super battery got its energies worth here, but yeah, the unit count is not high enough. As Byun's going to pick up game number 1 here on Hecate Alley. And in the second game, we once again have a double gas opener coming out of Byun here, which is interesting. I really like that Terran has so many different types of openers, if that makes any sense. So with Terran, you also have this would you call it maybe like a fragmentation, something like that, where it feels like Terran players, they kind of have a piece of the puzzle sometimes. There's very little Terran players that have the complete puzzle, but a lot of Terran players have individual pieces, you know? So you have one player that's really freaking good at 2 gas openers, and other players that are really good. For example, Clem, he almost exclusively plays one gas expand build with Reapers. Now, he can add in a 2 gas, but usually when things get a little bit tricky, he ends up going for these 1 gas Reaper builds. You know, that is his home base. And it feels like a lot of players, they kind of cycle between those, but they always have this one thing they tend to come back to. And Byun seems to be really keen, at least at this moment, on playing these 2 gas openers, which tend to be very aggressive. I think the Hellion could have probably scooted by there. Now it's a little bit too late. I definitely do believe that there was a tiny bit of an opportunity there, but it's not quite being utilized. Reapers now moving in. Will not quite get a lot of kills though. As we see these bad boys just kind of relaxing, having a blast. I'm not even sure if they got the scouting info. You know what's funny here is that if you scout this particular setup, so you scout nothing, but you see 3 adepts, my mind would immediately go to Stargate here. If I'm a Terran player, right? I'd be like, okay, this is the triple adept. Like, how are you gonna get blinked without stalkers, bro? That's not possible. Well, it's possible. It's just you don't have any units that can, you know, really utilize it. Here once again comes that Cyclone, and hey, it's just gonna go back home. Cool moves. I like how all of this is looking so far. I really do. I think this is cool stuff. Cool beans indeed, guys. Cool beans indeed. What is this, 4-gate? No, it's just 3-gate. Robotics facility is there as well. I dreamt about 3-gate Robo yesterday with Blink as well. That was a very unrealistic Blink. A very unrealistic dream. So I dreamt that I could build a Robo before my Twilight Council, yet my pushes were hitting harder than max specs. And I was listening in on a conversation of people that were watching my game, and they were saying they couldn't understand how it is possible that my 3-gate blink pressure hits so quick, but I'm also so safe with 3 early observers. And then when I woke up in the morning, I was really sad that the build wasn't real. I was like, man, I can't believe I dreamt about the perfect build, and then it just doesn't exist. I was so excited for it as well. This is like the perfect, you know, the post-Christmas gift. Like, Santa forgot about me, but it came into to me in a dream. Then I woke up. I actually tried it this morning, and so I was like, what if it's, you know, sometimes you hear about like people dreaming about like an invention or something. I was like, what if that just happened to me, you know? Like, I had my eureka moment in my sleep. And I tried it, and I got 3 observers, and my blink finished like 5 minutes and 35 seconds in, which is like 40 seconds later than it should. I was so sad. And I knew already as I was trying it that it wasn't gonna work. But I believed. Yeah. Life isn't fair. It really isn't. God, I'm so excited. So far, auto turrets dealing at least a little bit of damage. What do we have over here? We have 2 kills on this auto turret man. Third CC is on the way. Combat shield as well. Yeah. Ooh, that's a bad scan. That's a bad scan. That's a real bad scan. No, actually, he's seen everything already. So it's a fine scan. I don't quite understand why we're scanning, though. So you scouted the Templar archives. You've seen 4 gases. I think the full picture is there. Like, what is this, like fake Templar archives into Colossus? Does that really change how you're gonna move on the map? Not really, probably. It also doesn't exist, that build, so... Did he just clear an observer, or did he just scan for banter? I think he might have cleared that observer. I definitely do believe he did. Raven in the dead space is collecting kills. Second battery gets added in for just a defensive measure. Double drops now heading out. Gateway count is 7. It's gonna go up to 8. Fast RoboBay coming in here. Fast RoboBay. Holy crap. Double drop needs to deal some serious damage. We have another double drop here being set out. Where's the 12 o'clock third base? Let's see, we have a recall available. Let's go for the pylon here, right? Yeah, pylon here is priority. Can't walk past it though, that sucks. It's gonna kill the Twilight Count, so I approve of that. I really do. That's ooh, it's gonna pick up straight away. Yeah, understandable. Oh my god, 20 workers died. Nightmare perhaps a little bit slow to the response towards his towards the drop in the main base, end up losing a pilot and a Twilight Count. We killed 20 workers? How did I miss that? I guess the same way that Byun missed it, so... I mean, good company when it comes to being slow in the head. Drop once again, heading in towards the main. This is a scary one, though. I don't quite think this is viable. Units are there already. We have a redrop in towards the natural. That was the 4th, it was the 3rd earlier. 62 workers to 42 still. This army is just gonna get cleared as Nightmare here in a little bit of trouble. Army supply much smaller, and despite the big damage that he's dealt, might just end up dying here to this drop. Okay, well, won't just end up dying, but that was pretty freaking close. Byun hasn't been building workers at a very high pace. This 3rd CC isn't even an orbital yet either. Upgrades better for Byun, but doesn't have a Ghost Academy, doesn't have an armory. Mine count very low, and these are the things that truly do matter in this game. It's been an active game with lots of back and forth in the past 2.5 minutes. Did he attack his own stalker? He did. Would not want to be that guy. That's for sure. That's all I was gonna say. 50 works to 67. We do have the Ghost Academy. We do have the mines as well. Love to see a little turret over here, just in case that prism with the Templar comes back in. This medevac is fairly low, and we see Nightmare is hunting. Oh, he's on the prowl. He's gonna get it probably. Yeah, big blink for it. That's nice. It's another 6, 7, 8 supply or so that you just get without really putting in any major effort. I think it was the Zealot spot that did it over there. Very cool. First couple of goes now being pushed out as we have Vikings in production. Vikings such a safe bet, right? Either it's going to be Colossus or you can use it against the Prism with the Templar in it. Either way, I'm pretty happy with it altogether. Thermal Lance now starts as the 4th base is about to finish up. I mean, Nightmare, it feels like Nightmare should be in a really good position. Because he's, you know, up in workers and a better tech, and he's a Protoss player with a brain. But it does feel like Byun, just by sitting back and doing nothing, kind of... Terrans, they have like a second life, you know? Now talking about the online role-playing game. They can just sit like... It's more like a cat, you know? Where they can mess up their first life, and then they have a couple more where they just sit back and relax. And this push is... not entirely working out on it. He's talking in an awkward... What? What was that blink? I think he thought he blinked over there. I really believe... He was a guy that definitely reaches, and it wasn't close. He blinked from here to here. Lost 7, 8 stalkers there. Now it's Byun. He says, hey, I'm a cat, but you're just a dog. And dogs don't have 9 lives. They have 1. They just have 1. And you might have just lost it, mate. He's still fine for Nightmare. He has these Templar defensively as well. Oh, good EMP. That was an important one. That is a big storm, though. Because that's going to zone it out. Keep that battery alive for just a little bit longer. Actually, for a whole lot longer. This is absolutely beautiful. I love the way this is. Oh. just drop a Colossus forward to get an extra shot in. I've never seen that before. Big blink forward. Here's a Storm connects with the Marauders. Storm, of course, pretty decent when it comes to the damage output. I'm loving this. I really am, as Nightmare pushes this back. Has the Observer with this army as well. Rebuilding a Prism instantly. 5th base on the way. What's the gateway count? Probably still 8. I hope it's 10. Oh, it is 10. That's a big difference. I know it doesn't feel like a big difference, or it doesn't seem like a big difference, but it feels like a big difference. Whenever I play and I have 8 gates, you always feel like you're floating a bit of money. When you have 10, you just spend it so much easier if you're on like these higher worker counts. By the way, fairly high gas count here for a Nightmare early on already, up to 7 gas. This is pretty uncommon, but he has a powerful army. Take a look at the army guide. Look at that gas count in the army guide. This is not common for a Protoss Terran at all, where the Protoss gas is this high. We're much more focused on just getting these zealots out. You have 5 mines here that are just waiting to go. It's like, I can see it. Just stand there for 20 more seconds. Don't go anywhere, son. Oh no. It's like placing a landmine while someone is sleeping. You know, you put it underneath their bed. I don't actually think that's how landmines work. But, yeah, I'm not a military expert. I think you have to stand on the landmine. So even if you put it under someone's bed, it's not really very useful. Unless they decide to start cleaning underneath their bed in the morning. God. They'd be so disappointed placing a landmine underneath my bed and then a couple of years later realizing I never clean it. It's like, I get triggered by the amount of dust that's underneath there. Oh no. This is a weird angle to engage because you have one base that has a planetary and another base that's just an orbital. So I'm not a genius, but it feels like you probably want to go to the place where there's no static defense. I guess you would be fighting up a ramp, and this angle is pretty uncomfortable. But you can just clear these rocks. That's what I would do, probably. At least to have that rotation available. At least to have that rotation available. And yeah, she's going to rotate over towards the third base. That's obviously the correct call here. You can joke around on them. You can also move up this ramp. Oh my god, that was a huge storm. That was real nice. That damaged a lot of crap. As the Templar usage here has been quite good. I like that. We don't see a lot of that Templar usage anymore. It's just sending them in one by one here. Kind of had them semi-clumped, but they didn't all get hit. There's only a single Viking remaining. Due to the storms, the entire army is fairly low. And I think this might actually just be it. Look at this. 4 Colossus here. 1 Colossus is shooting a mine. The other Colossus are pretending to shoot something, but the Viking count is practically non-existent. GG gets skulled, and Nightmare there takes game number 2. Now, towards the end of that last game, I said all of these units are damaged due to the storm. And what I meant with that was not that all of these units had been hit by the storm, but because if a storm hits on a bioclump, the medevacs are going to be very occupied with healing that bioclump, right? That just makes sense. And because you're also very consistently stimming as Terran, it means that the other units that are stimming, which would usually get healed, are now not really getting healed. So I think that storm impact is very big. Even if you're not really killing units, you're keeping those medevacs occupied. And in the last fight, we saw so many Marauders in like, I don't want to say they were in like the orange, but they were pretty dark yellowy already. You know, it's like it didn't look as good as it probably should. It really didn't. As we have a probe coming out across the map, very consistent with his scout damage. Look at the scouting pattern as well that he utilized here. Like this is, he is not one to get proxied, all right? Nightmare, he's a safe and solid player, and I like that. I think that's good. It's just checking around, making sure there's no second barracks in the main base. That would be absolutely terrible to play 2 gas, 2 barracks, but you never know. Terrans sometimes have these very inefficient build orders, and just making sure that there's no weird inefficiencies here going on. And if you want to scout, you can scout. You can scout if you want to. You can leave your probes behind. Because if your probes don't scout, then if they don't scout, well, they're no probes of mine. Reaper into Reactor. Very old school. I'm not sure if that's true. Actually, more old school would be to get like 3 Reapers pre-Reactor. That is truly old school. But that is also not what's happening, so let's not even try to discuss it. Battery going up in the main base right now. And we need to start thinking here. Is Byun going to repeat the same build 3 games in a row? The first 2 games we saw that single Cyclone drop achieve absolutely nothing. And then the Raven follow-up that did achieve something. The question is here, will we see the same thing? Twilight Council once again here. It is... I haven't really spoken about this at great length yet in this series, but it is kind of weird to me that there is not a single Stargate opener. Because very often Stargate openers are the standard response. They really are. They are the standard response against double gas openers. But Nightmare here is switching it up. I think Nightmare just missed his Reaper. He's gonna have the surprise of a lifetime. Byun decided that using the Reaper ramp is for losers. He's like, I don't need that. Scouting your attack? Meh, not today. Piss off. I don't think so. It's gonna get a tank here. Okay, it's gonna be a single tank drop. Cyclone making its way across the map. Oh, where did that adept go? All the way back home. So once again, that triple adept. Battery Gateway Robo. Now, whenever someone does the exact same opener 3 times in a row defensively, it's probably because they believe that is the best response. And it's probably pretty catch-all as well. Like, if you just look at everything Nightmare is doing, like everything has a purpose. It's like this pylon on the edge. You have this battery in the same odd position every single time. This battery is always there as well. He's like, he really has a plan. Like, this is not a guy that came here today and decided that it's time for a little bit of improv, you know? Nightmare he's not a jazz player. I think jazz players improvise a lot. I think that's true. Are there any players that always play the same thing? No, I don't know enough about music for that. Maybe like classical music? I don't think they improvise quite as much there. Don't think I ever heard Canon in D played very different. Try a couple of different notes there. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Byun loves classical music. I bet. And actually spoke with him about that. This is serious dedication here. Serious commitment here to the push. Kinda hit like a truck, isn't it? Okay. Okay, this is a serious pusher. This really is... This ain't no joking matter, this push. Look at that. Look how many Stalkers are going down. Liberator now showing up as well. I think this... Well, it's not going to be game. I'm not even sure if this is good. I was going to say this looks really good for Terran, but now I'm not so sure. So, you know what I think is the correct move here? Is sending these SCVs back home and dropping the 4 Marines in the main base. I actually think you should give up this position right now. I'm not sure if this is correct, but it feels correct to me. It's kind of moving forward. Is there a super battery available? There isn't. Hey, maybe this is correct. Maybe the correct move is to never stop attacking all along. Maybe it's about the friends we made along the way, like these 2 Stalkers that are now stopping reinforcements. Next tank coming in as well. Do we have anything coming out of this starport? No. 43 works to 48. And I love that Nightmare realized that there's probably a 3rd base behind it for his opponent. And he's like, wait, I need my own 3rd. I can't just sit here and do nothing for the rest of my time. He's going to clean this up. Ooh. Here comes a pickup. Here comes no pickup. As that medevac is going to get targeted down. Tank will end up falling. We have a bunker. Liberator should head to the main now. No? I guess not. Never mind. God, what do you know, Harstem? You even play this game, you idiot? Yeah, actually, I do. Quite a bit as well. Quite a bit indeed. I think this bunker is actually going to fall in. Very nice play. Good positioning there by Nightmare. This is an exciting game. It really is. It's not the type of game we see very often, as a 3rd barracks is insanely late. Insanely late. Double E-base coming down. Byun's gonna... send the SCVs home, man. No. Gonna kill 1 more Stalker. Liberator should probably head in towards the dead space on the far right side. It's like a counter-attack, a possibility. This SCV's gonna die. Should probably get barracks 4 and 5 as well. At least we have barracks 4 on the way. More tanks, and we need a bunker, I think. And now it's going to be a long waiting time here. Look at this. 88 supply all of a sudden for Nightmare. Nightmare has better infrastructure, doesn't he? Yeah. He has 4 gates, and there's 3 more on the way. There's going to be 4 more on the way. This is a serious push, because Byun can't move out pre-stim, pre-combat shield. So that means we're, well, 80 seconds away. At least 80 seconds away from this third base setup. This is not possible. This is fake news. This command is orbital. It's... I don't even think Byun believes this, to be honest. Byun looks at him flying this, he says like, really? Can I actually do that? I mean, this is just simply not viable. Because there's no stim, there's no combat. I mean, this is a pretty crazy move. And not the good type of crazy, you know? This is a stabbing you in your sleep type of crazy. Wait, did that lip just get 13 kills? What was getting those kills? Especially now after getting 13 kills. No, Byun, just sit back and relax. You're such a good spot. You really are. This is unlosable. If you just have one tank up here, one tank down here, one tank here, like just in the natural. Now this is going to be a little bit close. There's no full wall quite yet. Byun does seem to realize that something is wrong. This is too many units, no? Surely. Get a big blink for good control here by Nightmare. I mean, no stim, no combat. We were 15 seconds away from it finishing. This is ridiculous. Really poor decision making here by Byun. It's going to cost him a lot of SCVs. He might be capable of stable. Well, no, he won't be. Oh! Sniped the Prism. GG. Oh my god. We count this as a win for the Terran. This is you know what's gonna happen? We're going to be complaining, you know, we as in the Protoss force, we're going to be complaining about Terran a couple of weeks from now. And then Terran players will start looking for series in which a Protoss beat a Terran. And in the past 5 weeks, there's probably going to be 2 in total. You know, they have Hero versus Maru in Atlanta, and then you have Byun versus Nightmare. Now, whenever they bring up Byun versus Nightmare, you can tell them that it actually was a 2-1 in favor of Byun, because this freaking doesn't count. Look at this. Look at the actual situation here. We have no upgrades, no forges, 54 workers of 4 gases against someone that is getting 1-1 stim combat, 5 barracks, tank production. It's like, this is unlosable if you have a bunker in your natural and just set up near your ramp. Like, that is legit what you have to do. I'm not saying that I would win from here, but I'm saying that I'd be favored. All right? We could redo this with Nightmare as the Protoss, me as the Terran, and I'm just sitting here in my net. I'm going to be having a good old time, all right? Then sure, I'll lose later on because I'm significantly worse, but this is not a win for the Protoss player. It really isn't. Although the supplies, they're deceptive here. They really are a bit deceptive. Like, the fact that 1-1 is going to be done. Like, he has so much cash soon as I can throw down an armory. This upsets me a great amount, guys. All right, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy this series. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much. And bye-bye.